So we're all dog faces. We're all very, very different. But there is one thing that we all have in common. We're mutants. There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us. Something seriously wrong with us.
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the Edge of Civility.
Right. Rev,
Yes,
how are you?
I am well, and you?
I'm doing okay. Because we're talking comics up in this motherfucker.
A rare day.
Well, lately, anyway. And we're talking comics in episode 92
9-2
of The Mean Geek, Comics Podcasting on the Edge of Civility. I'm your main host, Adrian Tech Jedi Hunter. And this schmo over here,
I am the Reverend Mad Duck. Quack.
there we go.
Bitches.
Right. Where do you want to start?
Well, so the internet has something wacky going on before we get into full comicdom.
What, SOPA?
Yes.
I don't know what to do about that. I read the bill, and I'm like, yes, it could be perverted into a horrible tool, but, otherwise it's just,
Stop stealing things.
Finding criminals, What are you going to do? I mean, how much do you want from a goddamn government?
Well, my thing with it is I think that you have to really understand technology to a degree. And I don't. Let's be fair. To fully understand the scope of what's possible with this bill.
Right.
So the odds are it's going to pass by people who don't fully understand the scope of what's going to happen.
If it passes. Yesterday, it lost a lot of ground in both the House and the Senate.
Really?
Yep. Whole lot of ground.
See, I didn't see that.
One of the co-writers actually backed out of it. So, that's never good. No bill lasts that way.
No, that does seem a tad unhealthy.
There's not much to say about it. I mean, it's like any tool. If it's written broadly enough, a lot of people can be abusive with it and hurt a lot of perfectly innocent people. On the other hand, places like Mega Upload are not remotely legal, and anybody who tells you they go there to share fan-made stuff between friends is largely lying their ass off.
What is Mega Upload?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a torrent sharing site.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows what a torrent is. I'm not going to lie. I've torrented plenty of things. And not one of them was a fan film done by a friend of mine or indie music I was experimenting with. So
I have done that.
Yeah? Alright, you're a better man than I am. Not going to lie.
Well, that was a given.
Hey, jerk.
Now, but you've really moved away from the whole torrent thing for the most part, haven't you?
Well, like I mentioned before, I am not so hype about getting things the second they're available in any form whatsoever anymore. I don't give a shit about trailers anymore. I'm not going to analyze, the Hobbit trailer came out and Twitter was afire with, oh my god, did you see the plates jumping around because they were thrown? I don't care.
Plus, you can see that stuff on like YouTube and stuff like that within like 4 days generally.
Yeah, so I didn't need to see it the first day. I saw it once and I'm like, alright, looks like they're going to do okay. And that's where I'm done. I'll wait for the fucking movie itself.
You listen to no music.
And I really don't. So, full movies, there are so few things I want to see the last couple of years.
That you won't go to the theater for anyway.
Right. I can tell on most trailers and commercials whether I'm going to dig something or not. It's very rarely a flip of the coin anymore with me.
Right. Particularly with something, you're a diehard Netflix supporter.
Yes.
So you're getting stuff relatively quickly, relatively inexpensively.
Yep. I do have to wait for some things, but You know what? There's so much other stuff I couldn't give a shit.
Yes, including the many things that I find.
Like CHILLERAMA. Kids, do not watch fucking CHILLERAMA. Unless you want to see a spermatozoa modeled after Bill Cosby's chicken heart routine.
And Jaws, to be fair.
And Jaws,
Yeah.
to be fair. That ends up
Exploding.
humping the Statue of fucking Liberty and then exploding all over New York. Unless that's the kind of thing you dig, and believe me, if you dig it, you shouldn't be my fan. Don't fucking watch that flick.
To be fair, we didn't finish it.
No, there are apparently 3 more sections. Although this one was 40 minutes long.
Well, that was also the intro of the film and the first section.
Yes, the intro of the film, which starts with a theater worker digging up his dead wife.
To become a zombie in a way not worth describing.
He isn't even in there to like steal her ring back or anything. He's there to get necrophilic with it. And
I am getting necrophilic with it. Yes, I made a musical reference.
You suck so much.
I was just offended by the amount of liquor he threw away.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? He opened up a bottle, took 2 swigs out of it, and it was mostly full, and then chucked it away, and it broke. And then he whips out a flask and pours it all over his dead wife's face, with the incredibly bad joke of you never did like taking it on the face.
Kind of a sign of what was to come.
Yes. And then she bites his fucking balls off.
But he does punch her in the face till she turns blue. Or
Why
bleeds
was he
blue.
bleeding blue?
There was blueness. It was 7 levels of terrible.
It was so fucking bad.
We'll be finishing it.
No, we won't.
Yes.
Oh, God, the things you make me do.
And we're now watching a French film, despite your constant need to avoid them.
The Chronicles of Vidocq.
Vidocq. Which you actually recommended, so.
Oh, well, I didn't recommend it. I said it might be a good idea because a guy at work recommended it. And I don't like the dusky-hued Lady Satan in it, but damn, this flick is confusing.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
It opens up with this huge fight between forces we don't know or understand or have
and
explained.
Gerard Depardieu,
And
the ninja.
we didn't even see any opening credits. It just jumped right in, and it's 40 minutes later, and there's a lot of extreme close-ups that are giving me vertigo. I can't say it's terrible because I haven't really been reading the dialogue, but it's very strange. And there's boobies.
Awkward.
So, this will be going in the queue.
You could be taken nowhere. Alright, so, we finally have a chance to talk comics. You've been chomping at the bit to talk comics.
I am. I'm excited about comics, which doesn't happen often.
Oh, one final point for posterity.
Yes?
Marky Mark is a dillhole.
Yes, he's a complete douche. Even if he was joking around and half drunk, even if he pulls a Mel Gibson and says, I have problems, no jackass should say, he could do better on a plane full of terrorists than the guys who actually tried and died doing it. Hindsight's 20/20, but there's being a fucking jerk.
Yeah, that distinct jerk. I mean, let's be fair. Even
Go
if he
back
did the
to
research,
shill in underwear, you fuck.
I actually built my own plane set and then hired 5 dudes, handed them toothbrushes and razor blades, told them to build their own weapons, at which point I jumped up and was able to defeat them all with only minor wounds. I don't care, you're still a dickwad. If you put all that effort in, I'm actually more terrified.
It's a rough day.
Alright, what are we beginning with?
How awesome is Slott in The Vulture in Amazing Spider-Man 675? How awesome is that?
You want to know how awesome is he's created mini emo vultures, and I still don't hate them.
Emo vultures.
Whiny dudes flying around because of problems with their parenting, and I still am enjoying it.
Cameron Coley though, and here and there I'm not so hot on him. There's faces that are like, that doesn't look like fucking Peter.
Some of it looked really good. Some of it was a little iffier art-wise. It moved the story forward. To me, this is all about story. Like, Dan Slott is a really fun writer. I don't know if he's moved into the full... I was actually thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, how spoiled we are right now in terms of the writers that are out there. When you look at things like Fraction and Rucka and Brubaker and Kirkman and Bendis, and then you throw in the people that, like, Azzarello is still out there.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Moore only recently stopped. And the level of writers that are still floating from further back, like Shakin and Frank Miller is still working. Like, there are so many amazing things being written. And to me, Dan Slott is maybe just a fraction down from that. I think he's really on his way to being a phenomenal writer.
Absolutely right.
Like, I think he's a great writer. I just don't know if he's fully hit his master works yet.
Right. I can see that. I can see where you're going.
And it's just insane when you think about, like, Frank Miller and Sin City, and everyone loved Sin City because there was nothing comparable to it at the time.
Right.
Or when you had, you know, Miller and Simonson and Shakin all working out of the same studio doing Thor and Daredevil and American Flag all at the same time. Like, that was your pinnacle moment. Like, this is unreal, the amount of talent that's out there. And Dan Slott, to me, firmly belongs, you know, right at the cusp of being in that group.
Yep.
I think he writes amazingly fun comics. And he does a phenomenal Spider-Man.
And what do we think of the initial reconciliation between Carly and Peter and you're a douche and I'm just mean?
Well, I think, you know, they're bringing it back around. First off, Peter Parker can't literally have anyone dislike him other than J. Jonah Jameson or a supervillain for more than 15 minutes without developing a new peptic ulcer. He's got a limited amount of time before he can solve something, or there's a new pus-wielding scar on his liver.
Wow!
It's really a medical condition. So, getting back together, I actually, as much as I don't like Carly as the girlfriend,
right?
The idea of Carly as the police contact
is a good idea.
You know, he's
That's
worked
fine.
well with that to small degrees in the past, having somebody fully on the inside. Plus, the idea of if you're going to tease the reconciliation of them,
right,
and then tease the reconciliation with Mary Jane,
sure,
that gives
it brings up a bunch of tension,
right? And the classic Peter Parker, two girls out of my league, both kind of interested. And you throw in the fact that the Black Cat is still floating out there, and there's still been Slots occasionally rode that in. So there's a lot of the relationship drama which has always kind of driven Peter Parker.
It has been a huge factor for a very long time. And I hesitate to say it's an awesome return to status, because I did like stories when they were married. And for me to admit that things are awesome in that triangle crap again, that would mean that I have to actually concede to Joey Q. Which I won't fucking do.
Well, I do. I actually like them married. I did like the one support system he had. And now with his aunt gone, and he's got a functional job, that's like you get one thing, you get one thing back. You know, a two-step, it's not even a two-step forward, it's a one step forward, one step back. Peter Parker has not passed go and collected $200 in a very long time. It's like an Avenger, you don't get paid anymore. They just keep throwing things out there that stop, like, his successes and his failures go hand in hand with his character.
Right.
Which I suppose is true of any character, you know. Ooh, shocking. People succeed and fail. Wacky.
I like what he's doing with the Vulture himself. He seems like he's a credible menace. He seems on his toes and spry for being an ancient fuck like he is. And I enjoyed that.
They also introduced new powers in which he can use the same forces that allow him to fly to kind of magnetically give him strength to move things.
Right.
Which I like. What they're doing is here you have a new guy in an old guy without totally throwing. It's not like, oh, by the way, I'm also telekinetic.
Yeah, they didn't just pull that one out. That one's got a reason. It's not like the
Red
Mary
Vulture
Jane antivirus.
Yeah. Or the red. Oh, I also vomit acid.
Yeah, where did that? How does that fit into any Vulture-like characteristic? That one bugged me, and I've made that one public.
So there's a lot of really good things going on. You still got the Jackal out there about to revamp. So he's got a nice building storyline, a lot of things.
No, we can walk away from the Jackal for a while.
Yeah, but it's out there, you know what I mean? Which is what
available for use. I don't understand what's awesome about the Jackal. You don't understand what's bad about it. It's a wash.
It's a giant
it's a
green
wash.
scientist.
He's furry green. Okay, we're not going to work on this.
I'm just saying, like, it's as if it's an evil gremlin. Well, they're all evil, but it's like an evil 8-foot tall gremlin who's a genius.
An evil Hank McCoy?
Nah, well,
just change colors.
He can't swing by his feet, to my knowledge. There's no
Well,
gymnastics.
we don't know that yet. He might have, taken a couple of his own bedbug genetics. Who knows what he can do? I
gotta say, as much as I love Dan Slott, I will never fully forgive an entire bedbug-based storyline. Like, really? But no, Spidey gets a 2 thumbs up from me.
Good. Which brings us to his new title by Zeb Wells and Joey Mad, Avenging Spider-Man, which is the new Marvel team-up, largely with other Avengers.
Now, is that guaranteed, or is that what you've read, or just because...
That's what I've read, but
okay.
It being comics, there's no way to say it'll stay that way.
Well, fair enough. Nor necessarily should it. I mean, there's 40,000 Avengers to choose from.
Right.
But, if you've got a really good Spider-Man Darkhawk story out there...
No. Wrong answer. Thank you for playing. You can't give me Darkhawk. It's not 1993 anymore.
Hey, Kirkman did it in Marvel Team Up.
And it was not my favorite story in those books.
I liked how he kept making fun of Sleepwalker, though.
That was fun.
I will help you. Wait, oh crap, he's waking up. Gosh, I'm so lame.
That was enjoyable. So, in the storyline, Spidey gets to team up with his Red Hulk partner to rescue JJJ down in Mole Town.
And the Moloids themselves.
Because some new menace has pretty much taken over and come out of absolutely no place.
Kicked some Moloid ass. Well, they're always finding something new down there. It's like you dig around for 4 feet. Oh, blank, a giant slug creature. Mark that giant slug creature 7B and move on.
7B. But this is fun. This is a lot of fun.
Joe Madureira is pretty much born to draw Spider-Man. Like, there's such a fluidity to his art style.
Right.
That and yet he still does something like the Red Hulk, the complete opposite of fluidity.
Yeah.
Extremely well. Although I would postulate still missing a handlebar mustache, but...
Yeah, but you got JJJ's Hitler stash to balance it out.
Now, are you familiar with Zeb Wells from before this book?
Yeah, we read a couple of things of his, and
what was that?
We weren't overly impressed at the time. So much so that I don't remember.
Oh, goodness. But so far I've enjoyed him on this book.
Absolutely. Both issues were a lot of fun.
I would stick with this creative team, but my question to you, which you didn't have an answer for, is if they're going to continue with this particular creative team.
No idea.
Or if it's going to be along the lines of Legends of the Dark Knight or Tangled Web.
I did not read anything to that effect anywhere.
Because so far, 2 issues in, solid read, worth continuing. If it's going to jump around, then it's going to depend on the level of talent. Because to me, those kind of books, unless they're constantly picky about who they're putting in, eventually sort of denigrate.
Deteriorate.
Which happened on Tangled Web, it happened on Legends, it happened even quicker on Shadow, on the recent Batman Superman.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And both of the Batman, Superman solo books that you were really enjoying for a while. The older ones.
Oh, yeah.
Confidentials.
Yes. That just dropped like a brick. I don't know what happened to those books. But,
And this also offered yet another great J. Jonah Jameson line. Not as good as Mr. Fantastic. I'm sorry. It's not. But he's underground, surrounded by mole men and moloids, some giant creatures that can fuck up mole men. And he tries to blame Spider-Man. And then stops when he realizes that even he can't find a way to make that make sense. You were going to say, this is my fault, weren't you? Never mind.
It's good fun.
Yep. 2 issues in, 2 thumbs up.
I'm sorry if I blow out some eardrums, kid. I'm finishing up some bronchitis.
Week
explains
4.
Why we haven't recorded in 3 weeks. But here we are. We're here now, and you haven't really missed any episodes. So, awesome.
Because we had a backlog.
And you
also,
totally don't give a shit about that. You just want this. You just want to laugh.
And also your failure to post some of them.
Well, yeah, I did delay. Right? But not so much like, Ian did after. Never mind. I'm just fucking with you, Ian. Appreciate all the support and the shout out from your last episode. What? Later. I'll explain it.
Oh, okay.
I talked a little bit on his show about Clone Platoon. At New York. Which took him 2 months to publish. But hey! We're a little bit behind on our Detective Comics review.
We've really let the whole DC pile build up for a while so we could get a decent overview.
Yeah. And
that's going to be my excuse as opposed to your we're behind.
I ain't going, well, I lie a lot, but that's beside the point. Tony Daniels is not my favorite Bat guy.
Tony Daniels is pretty much one of your least favorite detective guys.
Mm-hmm. I would just as soon read Alan Grant again.
Why? Now, where does the dislike for Alan Grant come?
Who?
Oh, wait, are you saying that you miss Alan Grant, or
yes,
as much as I didn't overly care for Alan Grant, I'd like to see him again over this?
I would love to see him in charge again.
Okay, fair enough. Because Alan Grant created Scarface, so I'm like,
I read a lot of Alan Grant stories, and I was happy with them. Everybody moved on, and things got kind of kooky, and everybody forgot Alan Grant was ever there, because nobody ever says, you know what, I love that Scarface story. No, it's only people like you bringing up the Tally Man.
I say I love that Scarface story all the time.
You are you.
Why is that a bad thing?
Only you are you.
Alright.
He doesn't get any investigating done.
So we got, it opens right up to, here's the thing about Batman comics that movies have never fully gotten. Yeah. And right now Detective isn't getting. Is that you can literally go 6 months in comics without mentioning Bruce fucking Wayne.
Yeah, you really can.
Like, think about a Batman movie that was all Batman without the bad love storylines. Or, I'm conflicted about my parents. Just, I put a suit on and kicked the shit out of people. You already know my parents died. I feel bad about it. I don't shoot people. Although that would kind of make sense because I'm really angry. But they've taken all that away. In every movie, you've got to re-feel the sensitivity. And he's got to try and fail to date. It's like, I would bang you, but I'm conflicted. But in comics...
My shit is grim, yo.
Yeah. I'm a grim and gritty Avenger, people. I hang with a 9-year-old boy. Don't test me. But in comics, you could literally go forever. Not forever, that's unfair. But easily 6 to 8 issues of just Batman punching shit in the face with a solid storyline and not have to bring Bruce Wayne into it.
Right, and not have to bring nurses with cracked masks and sledgehammers into it.
Well, I'm not even going there yet. I just want to know, why do I care that Bruce Wayne rock climbs, bangs TV personalities, and is a businessman for the future of Gotham? Blah! Blah! This has all been done 4,000 times.
Because that makes him human.
But I'm Bruce Wayne. I like hot chicks. Did anyone not know that?
It's not difficult. It doesn't need to be pounded into our skulls every goddamn month.
I'm Bruce Wayne. I have a vision for the future of Gotham. Did anybody not know that?
No, nobody didn't know that.
And honestly, Bruce Wayne rock climbing? No.
Only as an excuse for his bruises.
Fair, but you wouldn't actually see him do it. He'd just show up like, oh, I fell rock climbing.
Right.
It's like not having meetings while rock. Come on.
Especially in a, pissing contest with some other fucking gymnast schmuck business guy.
Right,
Don't give a shit.
Bruce, what did you do last night? Think. I cannot tell him. Oh, I pulled a muscle in my arm pulling the Mad Hatter's lip over the top of his head. Oh, I fell rock climbing.
Wow.
Alright, but having resolved that, we're back to the Joker, who has entered DC 52 by having his own face cut off. Everybody's dream moment for the Joker.
By the new guy, the Doll Man.
Or Doll Maker.
Doll Maker.
Doll Man is already a DC villain.
Whose entire purpose...
The Doll Maker?
Yes. Is to...
His father was a serial killer.
Yes.
So he cut up his father's face and now wears part of it.
Right.
And he built a fake James Gordon.
Yes.
And he's also got a team of schmuckies.
Who may be his kids and may not be his kids.
Of which one is named Bentley.
I can't trust a kid named Bentley. I can't have it.
Another one might be named either Orifice or the Gimp, or those could be insults. Then there's one called Jack in the Box that I loathe. Then there's a little monkey guy with the symbols that I called Mr. Chi-Chi for
Mr. Chi-Chi.
2 issues, but turns out to be named Samson. And then there's the one with the most dialogue, which is the horror nurse, who doesn't even seem to get a name.
Yeah, nobody... Where did anybody say, daughter, your name is blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, so Nurse Horror and Mr. Chi-Chi.
There's a lot of action and a boatload of dialogue, and none of it is mattering to me. It's not. I don't care.
Oh, you've also got the missing girl Olivia, who's actually a plant because she likes to stab people. Because that's never been done before. Batman fucks up some fake Jokers. And of course it was Commissioner Gordon back when he was world's best cop Gordon who busted the serial killer father, making the doll maker even more screwed up. Apparently I shot him in front of his son.
Another attempt to make all the really interesting stuff happen in the past and the present just mediocrity.
Oh, and they get away. Yeah, they actually get away because they have a car filled with plastic decoys. It's like Bugs fucking Bunny.
It's not nearly as good as Bugs fucking Bunny, man.
Oh, fine. The early ones when they didn't have a personality for Bugs yet.
But then at least they finish off this storyline by number 4.
Yeah, of them escaping.
Because if they needed 2 more issues for this story, I'd have been mad.
But where's the story? Like,
they
they didn't rescue the girl because she was actually in on it.
Right.
He saved Gordon, who wouldn't have been in trouble anyway.
Right.
Everybody gets away except for maybe Chim Chim, Chi-Chi, whatever the hell I called him. Monkey Dangle, whatever the hell you want to refer to him as.
There was absolutely no point to this story whatsoever.
And the Joker never shows up again other than having his face sliced off.
Yeah, he didn't show up in 3 issues. Where did he go?
Well, probably he's lying down somewhere wishing he still had a fucking face.
That's what I'm saying. His face is gone. It's on display in some weird little glass cage.
Unless, of course, they're going to put a new face on him so he can pretend to be somebody else, which he literally just did.
Over in Batman Inc. last year.
Yeah.
Or Batman and Robin last year.
Yeah, where he was the Crypt Keeper or whoever the hell he was. Johnny McDon't give a shit.
Johnny McDon't give a shit. Which is pretty much exactly how I feel about the new Justice League. It's a very pretty book with absolutely nothing to say and absolutely no likable characters.
Here's the thing.
You don't even know where to start.
I don't, because it's in no way... Jeff Johns is an amazing writer. He's another guy that right now...
When he actually throws some meat in his story and right.
But he's trying to introduce them all to each other. Like, he's really at a disadvantage for storyline. Like, of all the books that you're dropping, and that's something we should address at some point, is that the amount of books out there right now that you're actually whittling down.
Right.
This is the only one that I have questions about, because I feel once, as much as I don't like a lot of what's going on in the whole 52 universe,
Yeah.
once he's established the team,
Yeah.
that's when I'm intrigued with what he does with it. Building the team, which is a next to impossible. Like, think of how bad most of the bring-togethers are and that kind of thing. Like, how many issue ones are phenomenal of team books?
Well, very few, but we've gone through number 1, we've passed through 2, and now we're into 3, and, 4 is in the homework pile.
But what I'm saying is he's still there's so many characters bringing in.
Right, but you can tighten that shit up and get more done.
Well, he's also working at the disadvantage that all of 52 is, because it's a stupid fucking idea, is that he's trying to write personalities that aren't set in stone yet. Like, Batman...
And he does have to make it jibe with each character's other individual books. And I can see how that's going to be a fuck of a challenge.
When is this supposed to... Is this taking
But it
place
can
now?
happen more quickly.
Fair enough, but all I'm saying
Justice League is happening years ago.
Okay. Because nothing is really established there either.
In the context of the Wonder Woman book, the Flash book, not action, but Superman, and Batman and Detective, and, the Bat books.
Right, because...
In that context, Justice League is in some strange period up to 5 years ago.
Okay. Because Wonder Woman, in this book...
Seems awfully naive compared
and totally different than Azrael's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like, miles apart.
She doesn't know what ice cream is. It was like, ooh, a fight.
Yeah.
And in her own book, she's like, I'm the weary warrior. Oh, yeah, what do you want to do now?
Right. Green Lantern is a schmuck in this book.
He's totally a schmuck. I can see, a guy nicknamed Highball being a bit of a dip.
But,
being a little cocky. But this?
He drops Barry's name to new people. Like, how?
Out in the open, when everybody's got masks on, you just drop a name?
Terrifyingly awful.
Yes.
I didn't like the fact that somebody's like, Batman's real, and he's a tool.
That did make me laugh, because that's how a lot of people viewed him behind his back, so to speak, for many, many years in the original universe. Well, actually the secondary universe, because of the crisis. Yeah.
But even then,
But nobody really voiced it quite that way, except maybe Guy Gardner. So.
Right. Starman had that whole thing like, Batman is so talented, you almost makes you forget what a dick he is.
Did he say that?
Yeah, when that storyline with him and Batman and... Well, you don't read Starman. Why am I telling you which storyline? Dude, this guy talks a lot. Take him back.
Okay.
I tried. I totally brought you Starman. Like, you need to read this. I'm like, no, I don't.
I finished the book you gave me.
The one graphic. But yeah, I tried throwing you issues here or there too, and you were pretty opposed.
Not every book hits everybody.
Fair enough. And then you've got the Vic Stone. I'm gonna be Cyborg. Dad doesn't watch me play football. It's like, I'm Diana, and I'm literally throwing planes at harpies. I'm Vic Stone, and I'm melted in half. And now, thanks to Promethium and nanobites...
He can do anything.
Yeah.
He's essentially... he's everything. He's unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
That's a common name for a plot device like that. You needed to do anything you want at any given moment. Don't define it. It's unobtainium.
But so that's my own.
They've given him no personality except I'm pissy at my pop and I'm a sporto.
Well, his pop was pissy at him too. And the thing is, I get it.
No, I can understand why he's pissy at his pop, but that's nothing new at all. And we were promised fresh.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, nothing about the word cyborg is fresh. Just digging higher and deeper.
Same old shit.
Yeah. I will say though, like, not only is the Jim Lee art amazing,
No, it is. I'm not going to downplay that at
one
all.
of the best drawn books out of all the books.
Yep, absolutely.
But it also had, at the end of 3, the single best Aquaman moment ever.
I found this down there. I want to be in charge.
Yeah, who's in charge? I'm thinking me.
Uh,
You know what? You're right, that
Sure.
Aquaman. I'm at least intrigued. Tell me that you weren't more intrigued by the end of that book than you were anywhere else in the beginning of 2 and 3.
a bit more, yeah.
Yeah, because Aquaman, you're like,
Things
holy,
were moving a little by now.
not only that, it's like, holy shit, can Jeff Johns write an Aquaman that doesn't suck?
Well, we never picked up his actual book.
Is he actually writing Aquaman as well?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just
Yeah.
knew there was an
Yeah,
Aquaman book we
it's-
weren't writing.
So, I mean, I'll trade that one because if he can keep the tone of the character between the two, then that might be worthwhile.
But that's my only point, and I'm certainly not telling you to continue buying books because the budgeting thing I totally understand. I mean, I buy none, so. But I will say that once this team's together, if he can do the kind of stories that he's capable of with a fully formed Justice League, that to me is where things get interesting.
That will be worthwhile.
That's my only point.
I will say that.
It's not, I'm in no way telling you to continue.
Right, I get it.
All right, and then we go to a book
Which
that
is
I'm.
your way of saying, of course you're going to fucking do it.
Well, you know, if you don't, you'll
You
not
got
hear
this
this again.
miraculous left-handed, let's come around and convince you to do shit routine.
Cool. Well, Tommy can make the costumes. Gramps has a money box. We could have a show right here.
You're terrible. You're an evil human being.
You know, I hear that a lot, and it hurts. It's very hurtful.
The truth
Yeah.
hurts.
So I have read.
What? So you've read, yeah.
Which brings us to a book that I'm begging for you to dump.
Oh yeah, it's done.
Okay.
JLI is over. I haven't seen anything that's really grabbing me and saying, this is the way to fucking go, dude.
No, I have not. My whole thing is that it's not a good team. It's really not.
It's really a terrible team.
And again, it's not established characters. Because no one has a personality to be established.
Right. This is, we don't know. This is all backstory that's been unrevealed. They all know each other. Gardner knows that Booster's a shmup. Why does he think he's a shmup? We don't know. We haven't seen those stories yet. So yeah, it jumps right into the action. But nobody knows why nobody likes anybody.
Well, you've got this Godiva who's basically
Window dressing?
whore.
Ah.
Which I don't, like if they're playing her for overly sexy comedic effect, fine. But then you had Fire who used to have that role back in the original Justice League.
Right.
But now they're trying to bring her off as semi-professional, which doesn't entirely jibe. And Tora is no longer totally naive, which was the whole basis of that relationship.
Yeah, that whole dynamic there worked really, really well under Giffen's direction.
And I get you can't. One of the reasons Giffen books don't go well under people who aren't Giffen is that style of humor doesn't work for everybody. Once he left
No, it really
Justice
doesn't.
League, they weren't really funny.
Uh-uh.
But this isn't either, and it's also not. The action isn't exciting.
And, it's ancient celestial danger awakening from nowhere.
Right,
and we have to save the planet.
Paraxis, this giant space alien, and Guy Gardner. Like, nothing is established.
Nothing's established. Nothing's new.
And, well, you know what? The bad Rocket Red and the worst,
No, I
General
don't
in
think,
Iron.
I don't think Rocket Red is bad. And I don't think August General in Iron, as kooky a name as that is that bad. He just wants things to run the way they're supposed to run and get the mission done. And I'm very down with that.
I don't think that he's, again, I guess it's here's my issue, and they're very different. One is that August General and Light, or whatever the hell, however, Iron, is not established as a personality in any way, shape, or form.
No, well, he hasn't had time yet.
Right. Whereas the Rocket Red is just, it's just a sad ripoff of the original
previous
Dimitri Rocket Red. Except without, like, the heart that came over time with that
Right.
character. Where this guy's just kind of a dill hole.
Well, I don't know if it goes quite that far.
He's got a soul patch.
That's right, he does.
He's a dildo.
All right, that's instant. Yeah, okay.
And if memory serves, almost a buzzkill. I mean, I'm just saying, there's not.
What did they say?
You haven't developed any personality other than sort of.
What did they say in Weird Science?
I don't remember.
He an asshole. Anybody with a haircut like that must be an asshole.
Give me the keys. I can drive. Give me the keys. But that's what they said. They haven't really established anybody other than Booster Gold.
Right.
Batman is so not appropriate in this book.
Since when is he an encouraging, nurturing force in a team?
He always
in the daylight.
He always was in Justice League, but that was in a period where Batman was written lighter.
Yes.
The Batman that you're reading in every other Batman book and this one are so diametrically not connected that he's just not appropriate there.
Right. It's almost like they're not even in the same era.
Yeah, literally, you go back to Justice League and Superman and Batman are like arm wrestling over who can be the bigger tool.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then here he is like, Booster, you'll be a great leader someday.
We just got to give you a chance, even though the world's at stake right now.
Yeah, giant robots are eating the planet, but
no.
Come into your own.
And really, Paraxis, I run around the galaxy chopping up planets to sell the component molecules.
Yeah. Oh, I found these giant robots that were living under your planet, waiting for orders from a race that had died, and since I helped kill the race, I figured I'd just eat the planet. I'm sorry. Excuse me, what?
You know what? If you're going to have a giant intergalactic menace who sells things, give me fucking Elron and... What was that guy?
Oh, God.
Manga-Con.
Yes. Not to mention...
Manga-Con!
The splitting up of teams, when they went in their little groups of 4, or 2 each.
Yeah, that
it's
didn't
like
help.
Batman and Boosters, team 1. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
We're the most competent. Let's work together.
No, you need to break that shit up so that... No, it's not hitting me. I wanted it to. I wanted it to be funny, but you know,
yeah,
I read articles and comments all the time where I read, I wanted it to be like this and I wanted it to be like that, and I bristle a little bit at that attitude, even as I feel it myself. Right. But when I bristle, it's usually for entirely different purposes. Yeah. You know, like I wanted Punisher to stay Frankencastle, and that's just fucking dumb. So that's validly bristleable.
But the Justice...
You got nothing for
No, I'm ignoring that entirely. That's just horrifying. The Justice League International, Justice League Europe, Justice League America of Giffen and DeMatteis was such a high point for me in terms of a humor comic. And they're just dipping one tone, like, let's occasionally be funny.
But it's not funny at all. That's the problem.
Right. There's a line here or there where you're like,
if I could get a genuine laugh out of it.
Dan Slott in Spider-Man is making me laugh consistently a lot more than this.
Yes.
And the rest of the book is still awesome.
Well, Dan Jurgens has never really been... Like, when was the last time you got a giggle out of something he wrote?
Dan Jurgens writes a very specific style book. Like, I didn't like his Superman, but it was more popular than this. And if you think about Superman, it was always, event. He jump cuts almost around to 40 things at once. 2 pages here, 2 pages there.
Right.
I don't really love that. It's kind of Perez-like.
It is.
And there's when you follow the art style, you can kind of see there's some Perez influences all over the place.
Right.
So be it.
But no, it's, I already ordered 5. So I gotta have 5, but
hopefully that might finish up the storyline anyway.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't, are you gonna go with 6 or are you done with 5?
I really gotta be done. Money wise, I just have to.
Right.
Flash, 1, 2, and 3. I don't care about cop procedurals anymore. I've seen too many of them.
Well, because it's not really one like. There's a cop element that's floating around.
There wants to be elements of that.
Barry is basically like Carly Cooper in this. It's like there's somebody on the force you can ask semi-technical questions of. I mean, you've got him dating a non-Iris character and flirting with Iris at the same time. Which, first off, the idea of Barry dating is funny. The idea of Barry dating 2 people is so ungodly laughable.
Well, it doesn't have to be because we're supposed to forget everything that went before. This
But
is not the old. This isn't. It's new. It's different.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care how different you want to be. If you make a pimp Barry Allen, I'm going to punch you in the head.
But in this universe, Barry Allen is a pimp.
But he's not, because he's still awkward, Barry Allen. They just have him dating 2 women to make him more awkward. It's like they're trying to make him Spider-Man, which is just driving me nuts. Then, you've got this whole friend Manuel thing and Mob Rule, really?
Mob Rule is a terrible fucking name for a group of villains.
And they all look like his friend. Like, of all the people who were tested on, they somehow all picked Barry's friend's face?
Yeah, no, that I understand and appreciate that we're supposed to give a lot of leeway to comic book fantasy fiction. I get that, and I'm prepared to give a whole lot of leeway on a lot of things.
I'm not sure you deserve leeway just because you asked for it.
Well, no, I mean, it's the specific type of fiction to begin with that demands it.
No, but I'm saying, like, 52 is asking, like, here's 52 comic books. We're going to reestablish all of them at the same time. Happy buying.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the specific details of them all looking like his pal.
Well, no, fair enough. But absolutely, like that's bad X-Men writing. He's multiple Manuel.
No.
J.D. Manuel Madrox.
That's terrible. And I don't want to deal with flashbacks anymore. Just give me a story.
I don't have a problem with a flashback because that's a very Flash kind of thing, and that's still establishing that Barry Allen is Barry Allen. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. I can see that part. All right.
But,
you got me.
What I did like is that there's a subtlety in the writing to this that's missing in a lot of the 52 books. You've got an appearance of he talks about the cosmic treadmill, talks about the Speed Force.
Right and right.
You've got the rogues semi-escaping. So there's the establishment of the rogues gallery. Although when he caught them...
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I totally missed that part.
You've got, at the end there's a bunch of villains breaking away as all the rogues are breaking out. But when exactly did he catch all these people? When did they become the rogues? Like, it's that kind of sloppiness that is why this whole 52 thing is so frustrating. Like, if you're going to reestablish, you can't be like, oh, but he's still got all the villains and they're the rogues gallery and they hate him because he's Barry Allen. No, what? No!
Yeah, I mean, it's... They did have a directive to jump in and go and deal with consequences later. But I feel that there's going to be a disgusting amount of cleanup that's going to be very difficult to accomplish when they start pulling out all these backstories. It's going to get very weird very quickly. And we're going to end up with the same convoluted mess. I mean, for fuck's sake, they're releasing Earth 2 already. They're bringing out Huntress and Power Girl from Earth 2.
Oh.
And they're calling it Earth 2. They're already, it's less than half a year, and they're already asking to have the same kind of continuity clusterfuck that they've had for 60 years.
That's awful.
Apparently
Earth 2 is code for we didn't introduce enough women into our...
You know, that is a pretty damn good analysis of that right there. I ain't gonna lie. It feels like a stunt to bring more women characters around.
And dude, really, you've got Batgirl and Batwoman. Let's roll out the Huntress.
Who is Helena Wayne in this?
Well, the only reason they're only reason they're doing it in Earth 2 is because then suddenly the Batverse is half women, and it's like, oh.
They could have left her Bertinelli, and she could have stood on her own without any need to be associated with the fucking Bat family at all.
You know what? You should have just dumped the whole Huntress concept. When you've got Batwoman and Batgirl, it's when Batwoman was erased in the 50s, and when Batgirl was sitting around in a wheelchair going, oh my god, Steps, my greatest enemy. Yes, I quoted Kung Fu Panda too. That's when the Huntress suddenly became pertinent, is when none of the other ones were around. When you've got the other two.
They could have put her in another city, and it wouldn't have mattered. Because now you just got a character, who's a vigilante, who, you know, her family was terrorized by mobsters or whatever the fuck.
It's still too attached, though. Like the origins are too similar.
To be if it's in another city.
No, but take that out of it. You've still got another non-superpower chick wearing the same base costume, doing the same wacky antics, except instead of batarangs, she's shooting them with arrows.
Well, I mean, pretty much the entire Bat family since 1956 has been minor variations on.
Dude, if you're gonna do Earth 2, give me a fucking Batmite book.
Good idea. Excellent idea.
You know what? I mean, honestly.
And if they want more women, just bring in more women. There's no need to bring in other dimensions and other timelines that are gonna put you right back where you were. It's not forward thinking as they think.
Or go Zatanna. You've established her in that Justice League Dark or whatever.
Yeah. Give her another go. Yeah. Put a competent writer on her again.
And build it this time. Like, you know, I really have a problem with something you just said. The whole dive in, we'll fix it later mindset.
It was a real directive they were given.
It's an absolutely awful thing to tell anyone. It is.
I totally agree with you. Because you get things like, why the fuck does Guy hate Booster so much? Why?
Who are Fire and Ice?
Where did the fucking Rogues Gallery come from? You told us they were there, but how long have they been? And then they've all got to figure it out later, and everybody gets fired if they're late with a book. So somebody's going to be in the middle of a storyline explaining that, screw up, and somebody else has got to come in and clean it up. And that's where the horse shit starts really snowballing.
Yeah. I will say, though, I'm kind of in support of, get your book in on time or get fired.
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is a product. And as much as anybody wants to say, but they're artists who have to eat. And I have to eat. And if I don't produce, I don't eat. So, I don't care if they're being creative souls or not. You know, they agreed to do it monthly. They need to do it monthly.
No, it's an interesting concept. The idea to establish responsibility. Like, I do understand at the same time the idea of art and the challenges that lie there. Like, I have no artistic abilities, but yeah, I can see the difficult. I mean, Christ, we can't even get a podcast out. We just sit here, get drunk, watch a crappy movie, and make fun of shit.
The most crucial thing about that is we're not getting paid for it.
Valid. And
we did not enter into a contract with other people stating, yes, we will do this.
If we did, it'd be done.
That's right. Even if either of us had to do it solo with a voice recorder.
Hell, man, people, bear this in mind. All 8 of you that might listen at any given point. If you want this every week, send fucking money.
That's right, baby.
All right, so Flash, and then let's not forget, at the end, he gets shot.
Yeah, how the fuck does the Flash get shot?
Shot in the head.
You want to explain that to me?
You're too late.
Anybody at all want to explain that to me?
So, question being, is the Flash done?
Well, I didn't order it, and the last one I got was 3, and the 5s are coming out, and I am not frothing at the mouth to get anything else about this, so I'm not going to bother.
So if you saw it in a 50-cent bin, you might
sure.
finish it, but
Absolutely.
you're done with Flash as well.
Yeah.
So definitively, at this point, to be clear, Flash is gone.
Yep.
Justice League International is gone.
Yep.
Justice League itself is on the cusp.
Right.
Now, because of me, for which I apologize. Bat, well, the other ones we'll hit as we hit them. But so far of what we've read,
almost nothing is staying.
Justice League Detective is on the cusp.
Right.
Justice League is on the cusp.
Right.
Justice League International is gone.
Right.
And Flash is gone.
Right.
All right, what's next?
What's next is staying, by the way, and oddly enough is Jeff Johns again, is Green Lantern. Because even though the majority of the GL story happened years and years and years ago, and this is our current time frame, all right, every other book in the 52, right, is either concurrent with this,
right,
or happened years before this. So this is roughly now.
Okay.
So
See, that's good to know, because I'm confused, again, by this, like everything else. You know what really chaps my ass about Green Lantern is how good it was. Like, I really, really got tired of Brightest Day.
Yeah, no, that dragged on, and it was kind of boring in a lot of places.
And 4 Green Lantern books
Were excessive. That was excessive.
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern has done some amazing, really readable things.
Right. And I'm happy with the way this is going right now.
But
I like Monkey. I like Johns. I
love Monkey. Monkey's a phenomenal artist.
Yeah. And despite the fact that Hal is still being an impulsive idiot, I like Sinestro stuck in a situation where he's got to go against his former recruits, and he's like, ugh, I'm not going to justify to you how the fuck a green ring got on me. I'm just going to go back and try to figure out how to get my yellow one back, and fuck you.
I already told you I was better at this than you, Hal. Now I'm just proving it.
Yes.
At least I know that a brown leather jacket is not cool anymore. Don't say a word about my mustache. And there's your title.
Don't say anything about my mustache. I can be down with that.
But, yeah, no, I really like, and Monkey draws a phenomenal Sinestro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That guy just looks superior to everybody.
He does. He brings him a regality, a regalness? Regalness. Yeah. And above it allness that you really only get with, like, Darkseid and Magneto and Doctor Doom.
You know, Sinestro is a big villain, and people forget that. Maybe because he was in the Legion of Supervillains, I don't know, but...
The Legion of Doom. You gotta love it when he just flies straight through his own fucking guy.
You know what I liked is when Green Lantern's trying to pick somebody up with a shovel, and he's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
It's like, get a little imagination in there. You got the greatest weapon in the universe, and it bends to your mind.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is Sinestro's like, no, fuck imagination, just do it. And, like, Johns has been really excellent about explaining, like, one of the great things he's done in terms of Green Lantern is showing how the personality fixes. Is, you know, John Stewart saw everything as engineering.
Right.
And Kyle saw it as an artist. And Guy Gardner was brute force. And Hal was just get it done. And now here's Sinestro going, no, I'm not making a green steam shovel. I'm just fucking fixing it.
Yeah.
You wackadoo.
He's using the ring to manipulate whatever it is to begin with to have it the way he wants it.
And he's not doing it as a construct. Like, you know, I'm not building a giant teddy bear for you to land on. You're just not going to die.
Right. And that seems to be the most efficient use of willpower, really.
Which is why he's Sinestro. And which is why, like, what Johnson's done, bringing him back to, like, being the ball. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry. Mine are this big. I'm Sinestro.
Being the ball.
No. So, the only thing I have to say about Green Lantern and the New 52 is I just miss what was happening in the old Green Lantern. But I also think Jeff Johns, unlike most other people, didn't throw that much away.
Yeah, I don't think we're that far off.
Well, you think about how much he'd already established, and now we're right back. And what we've lost. Like, there's a yellow army.
Well, I mean, that never went away. They never defeated them all and imprisoned them or killed them.
But there shouldn't exist at all, theoretically, because that's the storyline.
No. See, this is what you're missing.
Oh, what do you got?
Blackest Night did happen, like, theoretically last year, let's say, from the perspective of Green Lantern issue 4. Okay?
Right.
Which happened after
Blackest Night.
Justice League number 1. So, I'll make a chart for you.
Right, 'cause I kind of need one. But Blackest Night was so based in history.
Yeah.
Because all these guys that aren't dead came back to life.
It makes it really rough.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lick of sense.
It doesn't.
Like, not at all. Like, the whole bringing the heroes.
The broad strokes you can force into fitting, the details are just totally fucked.
Not even some of the broad strokes, like the whole going after Green Arrow and all the guys that had died in the last 30 years, who hadn't actually died in these storylines.
Right.
Was Batman still killed by a cosmic bullet and lost in time, becoming Cave Bat and Bat of the West?
Who knows? Don't remind me of Bat of the West, okay? Stop that.
Bat 5-0 and all the other storylines.
Bat.
Rock star. Yeah, so, I mean, like, you're literally taking everything away, and you keep Blackest Night, which doesn't totally make sense, and Batman Incorporated?
Well, I mean, obviously they've kept Sinestro Corps War.
But, again, well, I guess, it's too convoluted. It's just, like, your brain literally starts to eat himself.
All right, they give us a couple of they give us some really, really, really dense books in the George Perez plotted Superman.
See, George Perez is an icon of comicdom. So to even criticize George Perez just makes you kind of a comic dickhead.
I haven't criticized it yet. I said it was dense.
I'm about to.
Okay.
Because it's just what we talked about in Jurgens. There's so much talking in these books.
There is a disgusting amount of text
and
in this Superman book.
It's jump cut to jump cut to jump, like a page to page and a half.
Right.
Dense is the perfect word. Like, this book is a meal that I don't want. It's like, oh, how was Thanksgiving? I made pot roast. What? What?
Dude, this is a pot roast stuffed into a turkey wrapped in a 7-pound
This is 3 issues of
potato.
Turducken.
Turducken. All right, there you go. 3 issues of Turducken.
That might be your title right there.
Wow, I don't even know how to follow that up and move on to the story, but
well, the story's not. It's classic, and it feels like that '90s jargon Batman, Superman that I didn't particularly care for. And I'm not knocking Dan Jurgens. There are plenty of people. There's things that I'm like, this sucks. I'm not going to say that about this. George Perez is a great artist. The storyline is moving at a pace. I'm not interested.
Yeah, it does not grab me at all.
You've got 3 different aliens, one of which is invisible / airy powers, one of which is fire, one of which is ice.
Yeah.
You've got all the convoluted of the mid-90s, Daily Planet, Daily Globe, Cat on the Grant and the television stations, Glenn Morgan, or Morgan and Glenn Morgan, whatever horrible friggin' name.
Why the hell did they bring him back? Couldn't they just wipe him from existence?
Morgan Edge.
Leave it alone? Morgan Edge, too. Every time I see Morgan Edge on a page, I'm just like, I have to skip this or I'll be irritated.
I'm just waiting for Bilbo to show up, or...
Bibbo.
Because
he's my favorite. Hey, are you talking about Superman?
You best not be making fun of my best friend. I will punch you in the face till my knuckle comes out the back of your skull.
He's my favorite.
Yeah,
I got no need for Bibbo in this new universe.
But yeah, this is just it all screams of a period where I didn't enjoy Superman.
Yeah, it really does.
And there's so much like newscasting, and of all the relationships in comics,
yeah,
my personal favorite is probably Green Arrow, Black Canary.
Okay.
That I enjoy, the personalities and whatnot.
They've got a good little byplay between them.
Which I don't even know what's going on in this because JT Kroll, so no. Superman, Lois Lane, to just totally negate the entire relationship.
Well, they had that whole, how is he supposed to grow as a hero if he has to keep worrying about Lois, blah, 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 blah.
Dude.
Boring ass arguments that don't really matter because they had 20 years of mediocre to awesome stories as a married couple. And there's a very close Spider-Man parallel there.
And there is. And of course, they've done so many things in Spider-Man to try and get around that and whatnot. And of course, what Mary Jane, Peter are already inching the way back because they're iconic and they're important.
Right.
And at the end of the day, and this is what's always going to drive me nuts about 52, and I defended it till it happened, because you hated it before it happened, which to me is not fair.
It's not, but I'm turning out to be justified regardless.
Yeah. But if you have to burn everything that came before you to do something interesting,
that really makes you...
What happens to stuff that you loved?
Yeah.
If you destroy all the history of all these characters, like Green Arrow is now of an age of everybody else. He's not
he's no
20
longer
years
the
older,
grizzled liberal. Well, he may still be liberal.
Right.
I don't know.
Was there no JSA? Like, where's Barry? I'm sorry. Where's Wally?
Yeah, where's Wally at this point? Is he going to be like a mid-teenager again? A young teenager again? An 8-year-old?
So much has been taken away that the whole 52 has a lot of issues for me. Well, 52 of them. Ha ha ha. Yeah, like, Bruce Wayne has a girlfriend. Clark Kent is single.
That doesn't seem proper. You know? The Playboy millionaire is seeing somebody, and the upright moral guy is by himself.
I don't know. That
doesn't seem proper.
But yeah, so Superman, and like I said, I cannot in good conscience say it's bad, because, and it's not just because George Perez, because God knows
it's not bad.
It's just not for me. I didn't like this when he was doing it. I never, I had a couple, we're going to go back to the classic in Bill's collection, but there were a couple classic Wonder Womans that I gave you.
Right.
That didn't do anything for me. I never read Teen Titans. You know it. We've talked about it.
Neither have I.
I think I had 4. I think I had 4 of the Avengers revamp he did.
Who, Perez?
Yeah. The 12-issue run when they were in alternate universes and whatnot.
Yeah.
There were a couple of those, nothing major.
It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah. So is Superman staying, going?
Superman's gone.
Gone.
It's an effort to read. And you know me, I don't particularly dig having things spoon-fed to me.
Right.
Neither do I want to work at it.
No, I want to be able to sit down and enjoy it. And I don't have a problem reading a dense or complicated storyline.
If it grabs you, it keeps you engaged.
But the aspect that you're diving into the first 4, and it's already this insane.
Yeah, we got to stop watching crazy movies while we're podcasting, because it's killing us. Wow, a guy just cut off his own ear in the middle of a police station. What the fuck movie did you put on? Mad Detective. That seems to fit.
Just saying. All right, so that brings us to the other Superman book, Grant Morrison's
Action Comics.
2 through 4, right?
2 through 4, where a young, just new in town, idealistic, muckraking Clark Kent is trying to put himself above everybody morally by searching out the truth actively and not being afraid to fucking speak truth to power. And bore the fuck out of me with it.
The amount of journalism storylines in these 2 books.
Well, I mean, there's no way around that, because the guy works as a fucking reporter.
Yeah, but
there's no way around it.
The level of it.
But I've never
he's
seen
blogging.
Well, that's just a matter of currency. You can't. Who doesn't professionally write? Professional writers can't live not putting them online.
Oh,
they can't.
So he's
Morrison
working
wants to show that this is a modern thing that we can relate to.
So he's working for a rad, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And blogging the real news stories on the side about Glenn Gledafich or whatever.
All the while of trying to avoid Lex Luthor and his experiments and I don't care.
You mean Lex P.B. Luthor?
PB?
Prissy bitch.
Oh, yes. He's totally...
I'm a scientist. Don't leave me. I fell down. Yeah. And then, meanwhile, they're building Sergeant Steel. And then they reintroduce Steel?
This early, they could have let Soups do his own shit for a little while before they just jumped right in with John Henry Irons. You know? But the muckraking thing absolutely drives me up the goddamn wall. I know I was out there with the people, man. Yeah, the proletariat showed me what you're doing to them.
He's got a blog and he's getting his stuff rousted by the police.
Because he's speaking truth to power, baby. Yeah. You can't stop the signal. And the power doesn't like it.
You can't stop this. You can't stop the Superman. Jesus.
Power doesn't like it when the truth is out, baby.
No, that's terrible. No cop ever has cared that there was a blog.
When the fuck did Clark Kent become Spider Jerusalem, for fuck's sake?
Well, he was always a passionate newscaster. Remember,
Was he, or did he just type up what he did that day?
Well, I mean, he does have a Pulitzer.
He pretty much just typed up what he fucking did that day.
Not always. He was very interested in the environment.
Yeah, after he bent a river to irrigate the fucking Amazon again.
I miss those days where he just picks up a river and turns it. It's like, all right, we're fixed.
I don't have a problem with him no longer being pre-crisis levels, but Muckraker bores me. It's Superman. His point is punching big things till they fall down.
Well, I mean, it's Grant Morrison, and it's much more logical. You've also got the whole alien. They're building a Brainiac, and the other thing is what's happening in the storyline.
They're building up a Brainiac, which is kind of interesting.
You've Kandor, City in a Bottle.
A little early to be bringing that up.
And I've made this analogy before, but it's like the ultimate universe of Marvel, where it's like, here's a chance to redo everything. Just do the same shit.
It's totally it. They swear more and they have sex more, and that's what Ultimates is.
Yeah.
And it's not fresh and new. That's just.
But you know what?
The strong version.
The strong Ultimate stories turned it ever so slightly.
Oh yeah.
Like Ultimate Cap is very different from Marvel Cap.
Right.
Ultimate Spidey, although inherently the same guy, every villain, there were different reactions to things. Although Bendis is an excellent writer, I think he definitely really, Peter Parker and Ultimate and Peter Parker weren't that different.
No, not at all.
The Ultimates were way fuck different. I'm really Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Ultimate Fantastic Four, I dug a lot, as you know.
Yep.
As far as we've gotten, we still got to get a bunch of theirs.
Yeah, I think we're up to 8 in total.
Oh, good.
But the whole idea that they were doing it slightly to the kilter, but here it's like, oh, just redo the whole thing. Oh, you know what? I'll start with Kandor. Crypto wasn't available?
Nah.
Streaky?
Comet?
Beppo? Yeah, Super Beppo. Let's start with the monkey.
The whole Crusader thing, I'd rather have him being a superhero Crusader than, and for lack of a better phrase, uppity, because that's a terrible word, but it fits. And I love this word, so uppity muckraker, who just thinks he's got all the story, and all he's got to do is put it out there, and the universe will be fine because it was his personal wisdom that set it all straight.
Yeah. I will say though, like, say what you will about Grant Morrison, like he's starting off, you've got this Clark Kent character who's coming out and it's like, oh, I'm going to write stories that matter. He's not going, oh, I'm just going to take a picture of myself fixing a dam. Hey, go to the #1 paper in New York. Sorry, Metropolis. And say, hey, by the way, you know that guy flying around in his underwear? I've got the scoop. I'd like a job. Because the level of ego that took. So
well,
here you
that was just practical, really.
But
I see that as just being practical.
Well, that was back when storylines were, 4 pages. Like, oh, he's a newspaper reporter. How'd he get it? Well, he wrote about himself and everybody liked it. Yeah, that's the ticket.
There's a certain elegance and simplicity to that, though.
Right. But you couldn't do that now without looking ridiculous.
It would be very difficult.
To have him a working blogger in a crappy paper and being loyal to that paper because at least it hired him, that's very Clark Kentish. It also, and this book also, to be fair, has Rags Morales, who right now is an excellent artist, and he
Yes.
thinks. And one of the great things about the Superman books is that they're analyzing what's happening in all the different ones at the end. So you're getting these little insights into the art and how they're doing things.
Right.
So there's some high points, but I just don't like the 52 Superman.
No, it's so far removed, and you try to set that aside. You really do.
Yeah.
But this is 70 years worth of everything we know about Superman.
This isn't like Starman, where it's like, oh, hey, you remember that guy from the Golden Age? Let's revamp him.
Right.
Let's revamp a guy from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Literally, you read him 2 weeks ago. Here he is again, only different. Like, that's hard. That's not a small thing you're asking of people.
It's very difficult to set that aside and look at it with fresh eyes and say, this is fresh stuff, we got to work with it and take it on its own merits. And that's the right and proper thing to do. But it's so fucking hard.
I'm sorry, like, I'm not going to do that. I mean, if you took a character from 20 years ago and, or even 10, like, some guys need to revamp more often than others, Like in the 90s when they revamped Deathlock from the 70s, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my God, they're touching Deathlock? How dare you?
But the argument goes, they are just fictional characters, and we do make up their stories as we go along. So, why the fuck shouldn't we make it up this way?
Well, that's the base argument of, is continuity important? So, because for years it wasn't.
For
many years
it
wasn't.
didn't matter a lick.
But,
there would be an 8-pager that one thing happened, and the next 8-pager was something that couldn't possibly have happened in the context of the first one.
And therein lies a lot of the challenges in all this, is because at what level do you get to complain? Because you don't. You got to sit there and go, oh, this is what I wrote. You'll like it. Deal with it.
Well, and that's all you really can do. If you don't like it, you got to deal with it.
Don't buy it.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of that, Action Comics.
I'll finish out the arc,
So Superman is decidedly done. Action more than likely is done.
Yeah.
Intriguing that the Grant Morrison book.
I know.
It's the stronger book. I wouldn't miss either of them, but of the two, so far, more interesting things are happening in Action than are happening in Superman.
Right. I want to see them develop the animosity between Luthor and Superman a little more. And I'm really hoping that this time they bring it and make it a little more personal than, oh my God, I see that he's an alien and we're human and this is our planet and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a crusader for humanity as long as it serves my purposes. I'm going to tell everybody that I'm crusading for humanity because I'm a big fat racist but won't admit it.
I was just hoping he'd boil his hair off again. Like, what's wrong with that origin?
All right. Are we done with soups?
Yes.
Okay. Gail Simone's Batgirl.
The Mirror.
We
the
kinda
Mirror ends in 4.
We take a sidestep from the Mirror while Barbara tells Nightwing to go fuck himself.
Oh, that's right. I need to do this on my own.
Which I can see, but I never really saw. Nightwing's dialogue didn't come across to me as, I pity you and think you're going to hurt yourself. To me, it was, you're my pal.
You were in a wheelchair a week ago.
Yeah.
But the point is, and this is, I have to give Gail Simone credit, because the whole issue is about Barb's realization that she's putting this stuff on herself, not them.
Right.
Like, she's defending himself, and he's like, stop kicking me in the face, please. And he doesn't deserve it, but she still has to do it her way.
Right.
And they're also reestablishing the classic, and never fully done in comics, Batgirl, Dick Grayson romance.
You know, yeah, they never did bring that to
It's never
a
had its
successful
high point,
conclusion.
shall we say.
Yeah. It's never
It's
had
been
a high water
teased,
mark.
it's been, established that things have happened.
Right.
Discreet touchings. Dude, doesn't that sound like a horrible French film?
Discreet touching.
The discreet touchings of Batgirl and Dick Grayson. Like, if you saw that in your Netflix queue, you're like, what?
Touchings discreet. It was a nice interlude. I mean, it brought some character development to it, and it showed that Nightwing is Nightwing and not a former Robin and not a former Batman. He's Dick Grayson, who is by himself and has his views and has his compassion for people.
But he's still a former Robin. Like, that's...
That wasn't really much of a factor here.
No, fair enough. But the other aspect of it is, again, when did this happen?
That is a rough patch.
Yeah.
The whole Robin's our intern thing, and there's been 3 of them over 5 years.
Well, so is the Batgirl wheelchair Robin relation. Like,
well, that we find out in 5. We get hints in 5.
okay, all right. I'm hintless, so I can only.
Well, there's one big bomb dropped in one sentence, but time frame wise, it's only hinted at. But you'll see when you read it.
But yeah, so I will say, like, I don't care about this book, but Gail Simone has some pretty solid writing chops to do little things like that well.
Right.
Like the realization that she's the one putting her fears onto other people, and that she's not necessarily making the best decisions, make this a stronger written book than a lot of the others in the 52 in that sense.
Yes.
So that, kudos. Because you look at, I mean, not only is it one of the few female-driven, female-written books, but there's a subtlety in the writing that suggests that that's a solidly written book.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. It just doesn't grab and engage as much as something I want to keep paying for would.
Well, and that's the unfortunate thing. Is that it's subtly good, but when, so this is going as well.
Yeah, it kind of has to.
Well, I mean, it'd be something I'd look for in dollar bins to see if that continues along those lines.
Yeah. Or, $5 trade boxes. No problem picking it up then. Gail doesn't get anything at that point, but nobody ever does.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So there's no real harm, no foul on that one.
Somebody bought it somewhere.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, of course, though, at the end you've got and this is an and while I'm just praise your writing, we then have an interlude 3 issues in to go to issue 4 with the wrapping up of the first storyline.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, that was a little. Why didn't they just end it in 3?
So I guess what I'm saying is
4 have be the interlude and 5 launch the new one.
Not even that, but why are you doing an interlude in the first storyline?
That is another really good question.
And she's also 4. You've also got the reaching out to the roommate, making new best friends,
and the roommate's dialogue. I want to punch her in the face for. Well, Barbara Gordon, because we've never heard that tired old piece of shit 100,000
salutations. Times. Thank you, tiny spider of my mind. In the final fight with Mirror, you were a much bigger fan of the Mirror than I was.
Well, he seemed. No, that's not true. He
had high hopes.
I had high hopes. And
high hopes.
Yes, we get it.
He's got.
Okay, Frank. Or Laverne, either way.
Laverne?
And Shirley. They used to sing that all the time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's because you're dead inside.
Ow!
We weren't being mean enough tonight.
Awkward. Jedi gut punch.
Sure, you can. Jedi should definitely say weird Japanese shit when they use the Force.
Well, who wouldn't, really? All right.
But, yeah, the Mirror had a lot of potential, but he ended up being a one-note jackass.
It didn't do anything for me. The whole I'm a victim because I survived and no one should believe in miracles, so no one should survive.
Yeah, my survivor guilt is so bad, I have to kill other survivals. Kill yourself, dude.
And then she beats him by punching him. Well, that was a given. And shooting pictures of his own family onto his mirror so he can't stop seeing them.
Although that was mildly clever, and it was very comic bookish.
Well, it is Gotham. She broke a crazy guy. I mean, you know.
Right. All right, let's talk about Batwoman.
I don't want to.
Batwoman number 4. More insane art.
The art is amazing.
I dig it all to hell and gone. But
Beautiful, beautiful book.
I'm kind of getting tired of Kane having to go up against really weird, ethereal, pointless villains.
Well, she's still tracking the psycho kid killing wet thing.
Yeah, the my kids drowned here, so I bring other kids to drown here.
So now she's interviewing the father. We've got this. The book opens with her sidekick getting gutted
The fuck up.
by some Frankenstein's monster-looking thing.
Right. Her cousin, who we knew nothing about till issue 3, when they had a falling out for absolutely no fucking reason whatsoever. How did they fall out? Why did Kate?
She didn't think she was ready. She kept bringing up her father/uncle.
Yeah, but why is that a sore spot? And when the fuck did she show up to begin with?
I don't know that part, but the source part is the father, of course, did not tell her that the sister had survived, which became the supervillain sister that she had to then take out without realizing it was her sister until she was in the midst of taking her out in the original Batwoman series.
Right.
So she's no longer talking to said father because she blames the father for having to fight her own, possibly kill her own sister.
Right. Insanity.
Say what now?
No, that was bang on. That was what fucking
I'm
happened.
so shocked. So she gets gutted. And I mean, Friday the 13th part 7 gutted.
Right.
And then,
because she had to go out and try to prove herself independently to Kate, who didn't even know she was doing it, so it would have been after the fact, and Kate would have been like, I wasn't there. What do you mean you did it?
the coolest thing about this whole issue, and I have been fairly vocal in that I don't love Batwoman. I don't care about this character. I really don't care about much in the DC 52, but I really don't care about Batwoman. The coolest thing that they establish, like, they've got this wounded superhero, and they're trying to figure out who she is to tell people, and Batman erases all the information.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we've got her DNA, but there's no listing. We've got her hair, there's no listing. We know she's really blonde. I'm sorry, what? Yes, we can tell she's a real blonde. You filthy bastard!
So the whole secret identity thing went a little too far and backfired.
But that's so cool and so Batman.
That totally is.
I was so impressed by it. I'm like, that's awesome. Her fingerprints, they're not on record.
The woman doesn't fucking exist. I know she's right in front of us right now.
And then this gets followed up with the best moment ever in any Bat book.
Yeah.
We don't know who you are. We need to know your next of kin so we can tell them because you might die. It's Kathy Kane. Oh, I bet you she's Batwoman. Oh, fuck! So it's
Asian movies are so fucking weird, dude.
Well, sure. It's entirely set up so that they can figure out who she is and at the same time figure out another superhero.
Right.
It's like, really, Batwoman is the other redheaded, incredibly pale woman that lives in Gotham. Oh. It's right up there with Green Arrow. I'm sorry, it totally is. Like, oh, it's Star City. Hey, who's that blonde millionaire with the goatee? Oh, that's Oliver Queen. How come you never see him in Green Arrow, the other blonde goateed guy with the exact same body and frame?
Right.
What a foolish domino mask that must be to fool that. Come on, no.
Yeah, it does push the boundaries of the secret identity concept.
How many red-haired albinos are there in Gotham in their entirety?
Apparently 6.
You'd think a couple of lineups so they'd figure that shit out.
Well, yeah, but they got to get him into the lineup.
But now they have. There's a big chink in her armor called Flamebird selling your ass out, buddy. Hoopsie doodle.
Oopsie doodle. Can we finish this up? It's getting late.
Right, what do we got left?
We have several issues of American Vampire. Finishing up the World War II story. Actually, the majority of the World War II story, which is 14, 15. We had previously talked about 16, 17, and 18. So 5 fucking months of American Vampire in one shot.
It was a fun little storyline.
I went out to the war because I needed to do my duty, and then I became a vampire too. I hung out with Skinner Sweet, who just randomly decided, you know what, it'll be fun to go to war in the Pacific. Fuck it.
No, Skinner went to kill his flame vampire's husband. Wow, this really is like Dark Shadows. Some vampire, True Blood, Shadows, Darkness, Americanness. There's a lot going on here. So the husband goes off to war on a special vampire killing mission of this whole island where vampires have been for a long time, but suddenly, Nazis have shown up and woken all the vampires up. So they're fucking up townspeople.
They're going to weaponize them and use them as shock troops.
And then there's this blood thing that's causing them. Meanwhile, Skinner's there to fuck it up so he can start banging his love, who doesn't like him because he's a douche, but at the same time is attracted to him because he's the other American vampire.
Right.
Yeah, there's some complex shit going on. So, in classic Dirty Dozen fashion, the team dies horrible deaths one by one. And they turn into these weird sluggy lizards with no eyes. They're horrible looking in a matter of seconds.
And eventually, the tunnels blow up.
She dives onto the nurse/female vampire, whose name it totally escapes me, is diving down on the island, fuck shit up, and murder Skinner with a golden knife. So, which is apparently the end of Skinner Suite by issue 19.
It's so not the end of Skinner Suite.
I was like, that's kind of awesome, but what? So this is just a great book. I'm so not making it sound appealing the way I'm describing right now, but this is just a fun ride.
It absolutely is. Which, now that we've established that bit of insanity, we go further back in American history.
Right, to pre-vampire
history. Right.
Skinner Suite. When he was a douche cowboy.
Yes. Where they encounter a Native American goddess/exile vampire.
And this is why Scott Snyder is such a great writer, is that you have the whole build-up. Like, you've got Skinner and Book being brothers, where I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. That was a bit of a twist.
Yeah, that was a little forced for me. It didn't seem necessary.
But it's there, and now we have to deal with it.
But, maybe he had this planned all along. I would hope so, but I certainly never saw any of that coming.
No. None of it.
But we established that Book is a really nice guy who'd probably be dead, except Skinner is such a talented badass douchebag that
he keeps getting him out of the bad situations.
So then the Indians, who are worried about the army, despite the fact that they're run by a dill hole, go to...
That's your word of the week, dude.
I love dill hole. That
just like I had muckraker.
There you go. But they go and they find the vampire spirit in the cave.
Yep.
And it's the big splash page at the end, and you're like, oh my god, vampire chick. And then, to throw you off, she's like, no, I don't want to eat people, that's why I live in a fucking cave.
Which is a pretty good twist.
Yeah, awesome. And then the Indian is like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna chop you into bits, eat you, and become some sort of uber monster. So now, at the end of this one, there's a new Indian vampire monster who will fuck some shit up. So, in the space of one issue, it's totally gone the same place you thought it to, in a way you totally didn't expect it to.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a great read.
I want Raphael Albuquerque back though, because Jordy Burnett's kind of not my speed. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? Why are you grabbing books left and right?
Well, because this one there's another 3, so we might as well leave it with that.
All right, so
and
we'll catch Punisher later.
You're trying to catch up. This one has part 2, so we can do that.
Oh, the 2 is in the pile, so we'll defer on Defenders as well.
So we'll just hit
we're on our last book.
There you go, see? Speeding it up for you, buddy.
You're good, my man. You're
I know.
so good.
I'm the talent, brother.
Star Wars. Time for the convoluted title.
Oh, God damn you.
Star Wars Jedi, The Dark Side, number 4. Qui-Gon is still on his mission with his hot Jedi sidekick and her Padawan.
And his maybe half a Padawan thing.
Right. And the irritating, I guess I'll go to the dark side eventually if you'll just shut the fuck up and let me, Padawan.
Yeah. With a dead sister. And are you enjoying this book?
It's nice to see Qui-Gon doing something, but it's not ringing my bells.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Does this book, the convolutedness, and that's another word that we've used a lot today, but there's so much happening, and there's so much political happening. Like, do you think if you had this as a graphic, as opposed to an issue each month?
It would probably work a bit better. Yeah.
You see where I'm going? Like,
yep.
Because it's not, and I'm not a big Star Wars comic, other than the early Marvel ones. I haven't been blown away by too many of the storylines. You are a much bigger fan.
I'm a fan as a whole,
right.
And I have much greater tolerances for goofy/poor Star Wars books.
Fair enough. But I see this working better.
Well, many things will these days, and a lot of times that is a conscious effort on the writer's part.
Timber!
At the behest of publishers. And sometimes it ain't.
Yeah.
It's difficult to tell, but you can probably discern which will be which when.
Right.
But no, this one would probably work better as a trade. It's not there's a lot of action, and it's bang up action, but when they stop and talk, you're kind of like, okay, get to the next action scene.
There's so much build-up and so much back and forth that it would be hard. You'd be hard-pressed. It's like the second season of Deadwood, where every episode you're like, oh, what the hell happened there? Trying to remember everything that was going on, the 45 storylines. And there's so much interspersion between the characters. Like, this one is working for this guy, but dating this girl who's related to this one and to this one, who kind of knows the first one, who might be using him against the other one. Like,
right. It is one seriously strange and twisted little web. And keeping track of it, you practically need an abacus and a blackboard.
Yeah, you don't need notes. You need to really... Like, this is the kind of book that when you buy issues, you should read, but you should also put to the side, and then when they're together in a volume of 6 or 8...
You reread them.
From the beginning.
Right.
And get an entirely different feel for it.
Which is quite different from... I'm hoping will be different from Dawn of the Jedi, which is coming. Which I kind of want to see the early history of the Jedi, because I've read a lot about it. I'd like to see how some stories play out in that. In Dawn of the... I mean, this is practically before lightsabers. But I'm kind of interested in what should be in the pile somewhere, is Agent of the Empire. Dark Times era Empire spy shit.
Okay, that could be intriguing. The other thing, though, is unlike certain books, because this isn't as much, even as I'm saying this, you have to acknowledge that so many books are like that these days. And this might be my biggest problem with the Star Wars books in general, is they're never so big or so good that you're dying for the next one.
That's true.
Like, there's all this political infighting, and there's some intriguing, like, who will, who won't, will they, won't they, who's this, who's that. But is it that different from the incredibly confusing Secret Warriors book, where I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna, other than a short period in the middle where I was like, okay, I just want to shoot everyone in this book because I don't understand it anymore. Where you were dying to find out what was gonna...
Yes, we were so ready for the next one.
And you weren't confused because you were thinking about what the fuck was gonna happen.
And in tone, these two are quite parallel in places.
Right.
In style and detail, they couldn't be further apart. Because Secret Warriors made you Jones. And this one is just like, okay, how are they going to get out of that fight? I don't know. Fuck it. You know?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying.
But the other thing is, of course, for a comic fan reading 30 to 40 comics in a month, which is where you live,
Right.
there's a lot to try and follow and hold on to.
Oh, sure.
To a lot of Star Wars fans who are reading, and not to say there isn't a huge interspersion between the two, but you're trying to remember this amongst a lot more storylines.
I know people personally that the comics they read are Star Wars comics. And they know about other comics, and they may know a bit of history about other comics, but they don't buy other comics. They buy Star Wars comics. Right. So, I mean, that fits their groove right there.
Right.
If it's got a lightsaber in it, they're done.
So, with that in consideration, you see a certain level of where this would be that comic. You're like, oh my god, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Because it's not poorly done in any way. But when I've got so many other things that I'm enjoying more.
Right. And that's where I think Agent of the Empire is going to fit nicely. Because I did read that first one, and I did read that second one, and I'm like, oh, buddy, what's going on?
All right, well, see, that we'll take a look at that then. I think, though, Star Wars Comics just needs somebody on the level of that Bendis or Fraction or Slott.
Right.
It needs that big, convoluted, there's that word again, but the big storyline person who's going to make you intrigued and care.
It needs to feel bigger.
I can be intrigued, I don't care, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and you definitely need to make someone, get someone who can make you care about what the fuck's going on in the book. Rather than, oh, well, this is just another adventure they had.
Right. I've been intrigued by some of the storylines in some of the Star Wars books. I haven't cared about any of the characters.
Right.
And to me, that's a huge difference.
No, it absolutely is.
Whereas, and God knows I blow the dude's horn enough times, pun intended. But with Bendis and the Avengers, like, I care about people I don't give a rat's ass about. Like, holy Spider-Woman, what's going to happen next? I don't like Spider-Woman. Not once have I ever been thought, like, who they don't use enough of is Spider-Woman. Hawkeye, who are you dating? I don't like you.
No, and no right-thinking person loves Clint Barton. Let's finish up with a little promo.
All right.
As you've heard at the beginning, folks, this is number 92.
92.
In a mere 8 episodes. You hear that? 8. That's just 8. We're going to be giving away a shitload of stuff. A disgusting amount of stuff. And all you have to do to get your hands on all of this stuff.
We're talking graphics.
We're talking strings of graphics. Individual issues.
Some anime. Maybe even a signed issue if we can dig one up.
Maybe even a signed issue if we can dig it up. A DVD or two, maybe. Who knows? It's hard to say. But we've got stuff that's quality shit, so to speak. I mean, how do you get quality and shit together? You know what I'm saying.
Yep. And there's anime now. I threw some of that in there.
Yeah, the manga.
Manga, sorry.
Whatever. It's all the same. But the fact is that you don't have it, and you're going to get it if you just let us know you exist out there. Tell us what part of what episode you dug so that we know you actually listened. Sorry, that's a rule. Sorry. If you want the shit, you got to put out a little effort.
Yep, give us something. Hey, tell us what you don't like too. We'll make it better.
No, I don't give a shit what they don't like. They have to tell me what's awesome. Come on.
Give me something.
Who thinks like that? Who wants to be down?
I just want news. I want information. Listen, someone has listened to me.
We knew John listened to you.
Who?
John.
John's never listened to a podcast.
In Wisconsin.
Oh, yes.
Not Walsh. Cadot. Jackass. You forget our one listener. Thanks.
Well, he's never contacted us again.
He follows our Twitter.
Does he really?
He does.
Doesn't follow mine.
Tell him you're out there.
I have a Twitter. It can be followed. How does one do that? I don't know.
Rev Mad Duck of MG.
Really?
That's what you are, yeah.
Oh, cool.
You knew your own damn Twitter name, you jerk. The point is, you follow us on Twitter, you like us on Facebook, you pop us an email, interact with us in some way, and you will be in running to get a boatload of free geeky stuff. How you like that? 8 episodes away.
Yeah.
Number 100.
Yeah, maybe even a Star Wars clone troop or something. You have a few to spare.
Yes, I may throw in some action figures for you. How about them apples?
How
like
about them apples?
And one last bit of info.
Yep.
I have purchased my badge and my plane ticket for Emerald City Comic Con.
Nice.
We're going to be there live with myself, the Tech Jedi, and Andrew Goldstein, our official photographer / media consultant / market research analyst. We're all going to be out there. Well, he and I are going to be out there.
Yeah. The Rev doesn't do
We're going
road
to be
trips.
taking live interviews. We're going to be buying a shitload of stuff. We're going to be taking a disgusting amount of pictures. And you can be one of them. Let us know you're there. Tweet us live. We'll tweet together live. It'll be fucking amazing.
Track us down.
We will be there all 3 days.
Any of the Comic Cabal going?
You know what? I didn't ask. I'll find out. We appreciate you guys hanging around and interacting, by the way. Just so you know. At any rate, that's the episode. Hope you dug it.
Yeah, I don't care if they dug it.
But you're right. We totally don't. Good night.
Bless you, fuckers!
I just set up yours, baby.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. You can find us on iTunes, Podcast Alley, Facebook, Comic Space, our own site, www.themeangeek.com. Subscribe to us through RSS, and most importantly, find us as a proud member on the Comics Podcast Network. Contact us directly through email at themeanergeek@gmail.com.